What's going on, people? How you guys doing, man? Just want to say happy President's Day. I know President's Day was this past Monday, and me filming this video is kind of past that. Just want to say my favorite quote: "The only thing we have to fear is fear itself," because I feel like fear is the thing that kind of can take over our lives. Fear is the thing that kind of stops us from moving forward. Fear is the thing where you bring negativity, and all negativity does is just stop you from going to the positive and reaching to the top. Sometimes it's like we can get easily complacent with being stuck on the bottom. Fear brings complacency, and fear brings comfort. That's what it is. Overcoming the fear brings a lot of discomfort. I know how it feels to have fear. I know how it feels to live in comfort and not live in discomfort. There's time in our lives where we overcame fear. Sometimes you don't know it. Me riding the Superman ride at Six Flags is one of them. One of the fear that I had to overcome and finally ride it, and I actually enjoyed it eventually at the end. When you get to the end of overcome that fear, you feel so much benefits, especially wrestling. Me doing wrestling, I talk about that loads of times on my blogs. Please check out my next blog that I'm posting. I'm going to have it posted by this week. This week soon, and it's going to be guaranteed by this week, no week further. And it's one of the best things to overcome fear. Overcoming fear, man, you're going to see benefits. Me wrestling, me playing on the football field as one of the fear I had to overcome because I was scared to get hit even though I was on the team. But why was I on the team? Sometimes I'm focused on the flash and not the substance of it. Eventually now, if I can go back and play on the team again, I'll overcome the fear with some substance. And sometimes substance is required of overcoming that fear. That's what it is. Even the fear of speaking, the fear of performing. When I performed, remember I performed back in high school. It was my first time performing in front of people. I eventually feel glad that I finally overcame that fear and just overcame that I actually did it. That's part of discomfort. Especially me at the poetry jam in high school. That's what they call it, a little poetry show. Where when you actually completed the poem, and then you get so much ovation, so much energy, and so much enthusiasm. It is awesome. It's so great when you get well respected for what you did overcoming fear. Overcoming fear, you get a lot of respect. As holding back from fear, you don't know how much respect you're going to get. Because you could bring a lot of inspiration, and that's what it is. That's what overcoming fear is about. So, the reason I brought this up on President's Day is Franklin Roosevelt, overcame the Great Depression, and he did the New Deal, and he saw there was over thousands of employees that had to be overcome. He overcame that and overcame so many obstacles of bringing employment and working hard to end the Great Depression. The New Deal was one of the biggest things he strived to do, and I'll be honest, I have a lot more reading on that, but I did reread it a little bit. And after the Herbert Hoover's term ended, of course, because he lost the election to Franklin Roosevelt, he came during one of the toughest times, the middle of the Great Depression. 7 years running, the Great Depression happened. And he strived to fix a lot of unemployment. A lot of people didn't agree to the New Deal, but luckily he brought the New Deal, and it brought a lot of change, a lot of positive change that happened. Yes, World War II was involved during the Great Depression, was an end to it, but he continued serving terms, and that explained why. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself, because he actually brought that confidence and that hard work and perseverance to life, and that's one thing I respect of Franklin Roosevelt. Yes, bringing in the New Deal was great. Also, the New Deal 2, and also the strive of fixing so many unemployment, and also the worst eras of the Great Depression. One of the worst times to be alive, too, with a lot of poverty, the huge stock market crash. It was a lot of work, and I have to say, man, for what Franklin Roosevelt did, so much respect to him to honor President's Day. His birthday was on February, so technically he lands on a President's Day, February 4th, 1882, I think. Yeah, 1882. Lo and behold, he did a lot. So that's what I'll say very briefly. But learning about it in high school, even reading it recently now, I think it's just one of the best presidency moments during the Great Depression. Like, can't count out Abraham Lincoln for what he did for slavery. George Washington led to Martin Luther King doing a speech in front of the Lincoln Memorial, which I think was awesome, and I think that can never be forgotten. Even, another 40 years from now, when it's been 100 years. So, That's what I got to say to that. So, thank you guys for those who've listened, and those who paid attention. Franklin Roosevelt, man, great quote. The only thing we have to fear and fear itself, and look how much it brought to the table over the time of the 1900s, the 1930s, and the 1940s. Peace.